Hello, fabulous superstar Aries. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of December 2025. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. This month features 24 days of giving. The first 24 days of December, we have prizes every single day. Make sure that you are on my newsletter. You're following me on social media. All those links are below and enter every day for prizes. On the 4th of the month, we will have this month's full moon. This full moon takes place in a part of the sky for you that has to do with siblings, cousins, and neighbors. It has to do with an understanding of perception. Understanding itself is covered here, along with learning processes and the spontaneous ways in which we connect with others, especially those in our own neighborhoods and local communities, whether it's online or in person. Synchronicity is covered by this part of the sky as well. So when we have a full moon in this part of the sky, full moons always bring with them truth. Emotions become a lot more clear. And in this case, it brings a focus on these very people I just mentioned. Now, here's the thing with this full moon. It is standing across the sky from Venus and Mars. There is tension here. There is adrenaline and energy all wrapped up into one. And that means that it just might be one of these people who ends up feeling like they provoke you in some way. But it is an opportunity for you to reflect on your own responses. At the same time, this can be really interesting and valuable exchanges with others. Whether it is sort of synchronistically you finding yourself in a conversation with another person, or whether it is one of these specific types of people. Now, sometimes with this kind of energy, there's a chance to see how you are perceiving, how you are thinking, how you're wrapping your head around a particular matter. Well, you get to see it differently, more clearly, very likely because of an external circumstance. It is through external provocation that we end up uncovering some truth about ourselves. And in this case, it is the truth about how you think, but also how it is that you're communicating. Communications might come off more aggressive than they actually might be intended to, whether it's that you are receiving it or whether it is that someone else perceives you as communicating in a way that's more aggressive than you thought it was or even intended it to be. At the same time, this can also be a perception that flirting is happening, but that's not what's really going on, whether you are perceiving that or it is that someone else is perceiving that from you. The great thing with energy like this is it does invite you to get clear as to how it is you're expressing yourself and what it is you want other people to understand. If you are in any kind of immediate learning journey, and what I mean by that is, there's the higher education journey, right? That involves securing some degree or something like that. That is a different part of the sky. And we'll talk about that in just a minute when we talk about the new moon this month. But this part of the sky is more about learning new skills, workshops you might attend, the book signings, and the other places in which you might gather with others to share information or to feel like you've learned something new. However short that process might be, there tends to be a finiteness of time. And in those learning environments in particular, it might feel like there's heightened sensitivities or buttons being pushed, especially under the light of this full moon. It would be very wise to strive to be patient with yourself and others, knowing that so much of communication isn't just about what's being said and what happens back and forth, but rather it's about all that we bring to a given moment. That determines so much of our perceptions, and we might find ourselves responding to a given moment with more than just what the moment calls for, more than just what was intended in that moment. So, I like to say pace yourself and be yourself, but also be generous with yourself and others as you navigate this time in terms of giving others and yourself the benefit of the doubt. On the 10th of the month, well, that is when Neptune is going to go direct. Throughout this month, Neptune appears to be standing still in the sky, but It is that technical moment right around the 10th of the month that Neptune officially shifts directions, and the really heightened time frame of how much Neptune is going to be experienced by us. Well, it tends to be more in the lead up, the 3 days, advancing right on the day. Then very quickly afterwards, the energy starts to dissipate. Neptune direct is always an interesting phenomenon, but especially this time. And the reason that this time becomes that much more special, that much more heightened, is because I'm going to invite you to think back. Think back to last year. Starting in May, we had Neptune get to the 29th degree of the sign of Pisces. And what that represents is when you think of the sky, it's divided into 12 zodiac signs, and each sign is divided into 30 degrees. And so we have this entire circle composed of 360 degrees. Well, the 29th degree of Pisces is the very last of those 360 degrees before it is that the zodiacal new year kicks in. The brand new beginning that is represented by the very beginning of Aries, which comes right after Pisces. That is the first day of spring in the Northern Hemisphere. And it represents a sense of beginnings, including the beginning of the astrological calendar. It was last year that Neptune got to 29 and then just kind of hung out here for an unusually long time. And it was over the course of that time that we were being encouraged to understand more deeply what stays, what goes, but especially where it is that sometimes it isn't about having the evidence, but still faith can be wise, especially where it encourages you to be more compassionate towards yourself as you prepare for new beginnings. This sense of new beginnings is especially significant for you as an Aries because it has been this year that you had Saturn and Neptune sort of dip in and out of your sign. Once we get into the new year, that's next month, well, Neptune's going to move back into your sign for a much longer stay. Overall, we're looking at this 13-year journey of Neptune moving through your sign. And I know I've been speaking about that, and I'll talk about that as we go along as well. But when we talk about it in the context of this moment, and in this moment, it is Neptune station direct. Anytime Neptune stations direct, it tends to bring with it a sense that we were asleep, a sense that we have to wake up in ways that still have us feeling groggy, and a sense that we may need to acknowledge our own disappointments, the ways in which we got caught up in illusions. Now, for you, this process is incredibly necessary because it ultimately helps you to prepare the ground for this new beginning, new cycle, brand new energy that you're going to be much more fully engaged in, that you're going to be immersed in once it is that we move into that new year right around the corner. But for now, in many ways, whatever happens now might in some way hearken to what was taking place for you right around the middle of 2024. There's a reawakening, a renewal of sorts, a remembrance of sorts, and it all comes down to what stays and what goes, what it is that has served its purpose, but also understanding that line, sometimes a very fine line, between power and powerlessness. This part of the sky that you have Neptune stationed direct in has to do with closing karmic ties, ending karmic chapters, but also simultaneously knowing that there's so much more you have yet to do in this lifetime. Because if you're here, it means that there's more to do, even if it isn't apparent just yet all that that might be. That really is okay. Faith is strengthened when it is that we don't know. And so whatever's changing, let it. Whatever feels like it needs to come to a healthy conclusion, let it. And in some cases, it's going to be a sense that certain closures are way long overdue, that we've allowed certain situations, maybe just our own feelings around a matter. Energetically, we've sort of stayed connected to a past situation that long ago already served its purpose. Well, now we get to see it. we get to appreciate it that much more deeply of where it is that we're ready to move forward. Acknowledging disappointments, seeking to understand them. There comes a point when you've gone over it as much as you're going to, and now it's a time to move forward. On the 16th of the month, Mercury leaves shadow, whatever it is that is taking place right around the middle of the month might in some way hearken to what was taking place for you back right around the 9th of November. That was when Mercury first went retrograde. And so Mercury is returning to where Mercury first went retrograde. This is the last hurrah. Whatever's happening around the middle of this month might in some way help you to see much more clearly what was taking place for you around a week into November and a few days after that. Back then, you thought you were clear, but perhaps you really weren't. This is another look. This is a different look at what might have been taking place then, especially in relation to things like long distance travel, immigration, citizenship, higher learning, legal matters, along with the beliefs that help you to make sense of the world, political, philosophical, and religious as well. It isn't just that we have Mercury leaving shadow here. Once Mercury leaves shadow, you're in brand new territory. You've wrapped up the loose ends you needed to. You've had a chance to be honest with yourself where perhaps you weren't ready to before. And now you're moving forward. And there is a very strong symbol that suggests in this area of life, you are absolutely having new beginnings. And that is because just 3 days after Mercury leaves shadow, we are going to have a new moon in this same part of the sky covering these very same matters. So not only is it all systems go with Mercury, but with a new moon, it represents a seed moment. It is a very beginning, whether it's new opportunities, new insights, new understandings, or new inspirations that might find you. And so here's the thing that's fascinating with this new moon. This new moon is also at what astrologers call an anaretic degree, meaning that it is taking place at one of the very last degrees of the sign it's moving through. Whereas for Neptune, anaretic degree, yes, but that was 29. That was the very last degree. It is this new moon that's happening at 28 of Sagittarius. So it's like the second last degree, but it's still holding these qualities of culmination and conclusion. And as much as new moons bring with them new beginnings, a new moon that happens at the very end of its sign means that the new beginning comes hand in hand with some sense of closure as well. Now, here's what's fascinating. That new moon is going to be speaking in tension with Neptune. And that suggests some disappointment. And I'm sorry to say, it does happen. A lot of us are going to be feeling that. Perhaps even some disillusionment, some sense of uncertainty. But yeah, there just might be feelings of some disappointment that are playing out there at that time, especially in these areas I just mentioned. And yet, they're just what might be necessary so that you can open yourself to the potential and the possibility of the new beginnings that are taking place as well. So, for example, if it is that you were really set on a sense of progress or a sense of being able to move forward on a higher education matter, perhaps it didn't come together the way that you thought or hoped or wanted it to, but because of that, it just might allow you to consider other options. And those other options might speak more strongly to what actually is for you, what might actually end up being a better fit. We have Chiron speaking in supreme harmony with this energy as well, this new moon energy. And so whatever is stirring now, yeah, it might have you feeling vulnerable, but it's also a part of a path that you feel you must take. That's the thing with Chiron. We know our healing is there. And so it isn't so much about us deciding what stays, what goes, but rather us realizing that, you know what, this is what I'm being called to do. I wish things might have been different because of that disappointment of Neptune. And yet I know that if I walk this path, I will be better in some way. I'll heal something, I'll conquer some vulnerability, and sometimes that's just an unconscious process. Now, other than higher education, for example, a legal matter, right? Bringing a legal matter to a close might come with a sense of some disappointment, but it does allow you to be free of it. It allows a sense of a new beginning. If you get a chance to do some traveling, especially to another whole part of your country or another culture where people speak a different language, for example, where you're immersing yourself in a space unfamiliar to you, well, that's when all these layers wake up as well. The disappointment coming hand in hand with a deeper healing that you are ready for. If you're getting opportunities in these particular areas that I mentioned, for example, if you work in legal professions or higher education professions or in travel or immigration or citizenship, if you work in these fields or politics, or you're a philosopher, perhaps, right? Whatever that might be for you, know that this energy might feel like a mixed bag on the surface. Some new opportunity you thought was secured might feel unsatisfying or might not work out exactly as you wanted. And there might be a sense that it leaves something to be desired, and yet you still have a whole lot of choice to decide on the next best steps for you. Now, where it comes to matters of love, consider that we are going to have Venus opposite that full moon in the first part of the month. Now, the full moon tends to bring emotion to the surface, and there's something about love that'll do that as well. But you add Venus across the sky from that full moon, and it suggests that it is as a result of what might be happening in love that is part of the energy of awareness that might be there. It is a key conversation that could be happening that helps you to understand where you are in love and how you feel about it. So, for those of you open to meeting someone new, online connections, the synchronistic, spontaneous connections, those are the ones that you just might find leading to a deeper reflection on your part. There's already this sense with Venus spending the first 24 days in that philosophical part of the sky that you're taking a philosophical approach to love. And so that may already be there in the context of new people you're connecting with. And so stay open to that sense of adventure that Venus is inviting, but also know that as you're speaking with people, as you're communicating with people, it just might stir something within you, a feeling of the love that you've had, but also the love that you desire. For those of you just starting to date someone, listening to a person is very valuable, especially under the light of that full moon. You know, very famously, Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, believe them. And I also think when people tell you who they are, believe them as well. And I think you just might get that. You have to take people at their word with what it is that they're telling you about themselves. Take that into consideration now, because I feel like this person is going to be very clear with you, and from there, you get to decide what it is that you might want to do next, whether that means moving towards them or going another way. Where it is that you have certain values, certain beliefs about what love should be, and if you feel that could be here, there's going to be so much willingness on your part to compromise. But where it is that you're starting to see that might not be here, it's a good idea to pay attention to that as part of figuring out the next best steps for you. And for those of you in an established bond, the overwhelming majority of people is going to find you're having conversations. Some of them might be easier, some of them might be more difficult, and yet there's a sense of laying the heart bare through honest exchange and honest conversation. There is going to be that small percent. If you felt for a while that you might not be in the right relationship for you, considering that we are now going to have Mercury leave shadow mid-month, we are having an energy not only of the full moon that is inviting you to really listen to this person and what they're telling you about what they are bringing, what the relationship is, how much they're able to understand you. As you listen to what they're telling you, it just might help you to understand what it is that you might want to do next. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. I'm going to say I love the energy of, well, I think that new moon energy is a really big deal. That new moon energy happening in fellow fire sign Sagittarius is all about opening up the world to you. Sometimes new beginnings come about because they're necessary, because what has been has lent itself to a feeling of disappointment or maybe even disillusionment as well. All of that might be possible here, and yet it just might be what you need to realize that so much of the world really is available to you. You don't have to be just caught up in this perspective, this angle, this little place. The world is big and it is yours. Well, thank you so much for watching. Once again, 24 Days of Giving is underway as soon as this month begins. Make sure you're on my newsletter, you're following me on social media and more. You get that many more entries. And of course, if you are one of the members over in the Superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com or thefutureismagical.com, not only do you get bonus entries when you enter the draw every day, but you also get expanded exclusive video scopes for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with choose your membership rate. Higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. Thank you so much again for watching, and have a wonderful end of the year. Have a wonderful 24 days of giving and so much more. I'm really excited about those 24 days because we're going to feature, of course, prizes, but then also every single day we're going to highlight one or two different charities. Many of them I support. We support together through this work, and others that other people who are participating in the giveaway, astrologers, people you've seen on my channel, and so much more. Well, they also are going to be sharing some of their favorite charities as well. So be on the lookout for all of that. Thank you so much once again, and it'll be a great month. Enjoy.